All right, we need to talk about what's going on with GameStop right now. Right now, there is an economic revolution going on with this stock as retail investors are essentially waging economic warfare against these hedge fund managers that are shorting stocks heavily, such as GameStop Corporation. And now in this video, I'm kind of gonna explain what's going on here because many of these financial concepts may be foreign or esoteric to you out there. So I'm gonna explain why this is astounding, and I don't think this has ever happened before. Maybe it has, but this is definitely the most extraordinary case that I can ever remember as long as I've paid attention to the stock market. Now today, GameStop is up 26%. And we're going to kind of go over the perspective a little bit over what's going on. For example, we have people like Will Mead, who's pretty big on Twitter, saying retail investors basically just shut down a hedge fund. Now, retail investors are just kind of like normal accounts, like you and me. Anyone can go and open like a Roth IRA or a personal investment account and just start trading stocks on Fidelity or Robinhood or whatever, any of these platforms. And so what happened is there's a subreddit called Wallstreetbets /r Wallstreetbets. Okay, they have 2 million members, and they coordinated their buying activity, and they have declared that GameStop is going to be their meme stock. And essentially, what people did is they went in and they looked up which stocks are being heavily shorted. Now, for those that don't know, a short is when there are basically contracts, there are bets that a stock is going to fall. So if you think a business is doing poorly and is going to continue doing poorly, you may want to short sell that stock in order to make money on the way down. Now, typically you would make money only on the way up. That's kind of like the conventional way of doing it. But with a short sale, you would make money on the way down. And that makes sense, right? Like people would think GameStop, that's a, brick and mortar game retail, it's kind of like Blockbuster Video, but for selling video games, right? So they have decided that what they're going to do in order to sort of exploit this, since they can look up what stocks are being shorted, they decided to coordinate 2 million members plus anyone else who's paying attention to this community to say, you know what, we're going to screw over these hedge funds. And all of us retail investors are going to get together and we're all going to buy GameStop. And we're not going to this is not a pump and dump, because of the pump and dump you plan to sell. The plan here is to buy the stock and to hold it for a very long time. People may end up cashing out. That's up to them whenever they want to cash out. But hey, I think it may be a good idea. I think GameStop is a pretty nice company. This is, I think getting rid of Blockbuster Video was a big mistake, don't you think? All these boomers sit around waxing nostalgic about how they miss going to Blockbuster Video. And, wouldn't it just be a shame if GameStop went the same way? I think GameStop's got some good management. I think I think consumers want a physical place to go and buy video games. So I think that I'm not giving stock advice. That's not what I'm doing here. But I could see why people may want to invest in this company just to boost it, keep it around, and just buy it and hold it for as long as you can. See, here's the problem with short selling. You can only double your money with short selling, because if it goes all the way to zero, you double your money. But on the other side of that bet, you can actually lose infinite money if it keeps going up. And so the problem is, right now, hedge funds are heavily leveraged into short selling GameStop. And all of these retail investors have decided to go all in and hold this stock. And now that's why we have this little problem here. And as you can see, there's going to be a lot of volatility today. Today it's Tuesday, January 26th, and there's mad volatility. This thing's all over the place. This was in the 90s, and you're going to just see crazy. Even if you're just a casual observer of what's going on, just keep your eye on GameStop. There's going to be some crazy stuff going on, and this is not going to be like 2 days, 3 days. This is going to be going on for weeks. I don't know how this is going to end, but it's going to be a lot of fun to observe. Again, he continued, Citadel and Point72 are investing backstopping, 2.75 billion into Melvin Capital. Now, Melvin Capital essentially went bankrupt. This is that hedge fund that basically got destroyed by all of these people. And I know you're really feeling bad for these hedge funds right now. I feel so bad for them. You know, they sit around basically speculating, using all these exotic financial instruments and options, and basically sitting around playing a video game, making money, making tons of money. You know, what a great contribution to our society that they make, all those hedge fund managers. And then, so they basically sunk 2.75 billion. So basically another hedge fund, Citadel and Point 72, are basically helping them out because they cannot cover these short sells. Melvin down over 30% in 2021. And some more perspective on this. Edward Ongweso Jr. says, I've been laughing for 10 minutes because apparently Wallstreetbets screwed over and killed a hedge fund that was shorting GameStop. And now the hedge fund needs a $2.75 billion bailout. LMA. Yeah, that is LMAO. This is unbelievable. Like, this does not happen. And honestly, now that it has happened, I'm kind of surprised it happened. It hasn't happened before. And I'd like to play this short clip from Jim Cramer. Everyone knows who Jim Cramer is. But he's he's kind of like probably the most famous stock guy, stock personality in the media. And he has, a fair amount of credibility. And he gives a pretty reasonable perspective on this entire situation. He's one of these big media guys, but for the most part, I think he's gives a pretty fair perspective on this entire situation. Let's look at a brief clip here.
Now, there's a forum I've mentioned before, Wallstreetbets. It's on Reddit. Now, a lot of younger people read Reddit. I read Reddit because younger people read it. That's why. Now, they've got a community of very rabid investors who will choose individual stocks and then run them up as a group with commentary about how much they love them. Now, they don't target just any stocks. They go after the ones that are heavily shorted in order to...
Exactly. So this stock was heavily shorted, and this is something that you can go on Yahoo Finance, and you can look this up, and you can find what are all the heavily shorted stocks. And then you could just coordinate a massive buying campaign to boost the stock price of the company and screw over these hedge funds.
Come up with a short squeeze. They'll come up with a thesis all on display and then run them until the shorts have to cover their positions, spurring still one more leg higher. Now, I know what it's like to get caught on the wrong side of a short squeeze. The only thing
you're talking about a short squeeze, it's essentially the stock price is going up. You have shorted the stock. This is a short squeeze. And now at this point, you are forced to do one of two things. You're either going to have to choose to buy and just eat the loss, or just wait and hope that it goes down.
Short seller can really do when targeted is to throw in the towel. No point in trying to fight it. You just have to cover your short, meaning buy back the stock to close out your position before you run out of money. You can...
Right. So exactly. So what they're going to have to do after all of these people buy, these people, the hedge funds are going to more or less be forced to buy the stock. So this is going to cause the stock to go up even more after the short squeeze completely plays out. So, what's going to happen here? It's going to keep going up, right? And let's read a little bit about short sales. Key takeaways. This is from Investopedia. Okay, very, very reliable source. No fact checking required here. Shorting stocks is a way to profit from falling prices. We've established that. Just making sure. I'm fact checking myself on as we go here. A fundamental problem with short selling is the potential for unlimited losses. So as it continues to go up, there's no limit to how high your stock can go. There's no like hard-coded limit in the stock market code says how much your stock can be worth. It's all fake anyway. It's all fake money, whatever. It's just a big video game. That's all it is. Shorting is typically done using margin leverage, and these margin loans come with interest charges, which you have to pay for as long as the position is in place. Now here's the key takeaway with shorting. No matter how bad a company's prospects may be, there are several events that could cause a sudden reversal of fortunes, like a bunch of people on Wallstreetbets deciding, hey, let's all buy this stock because, screw the hedge funds. They have enough money. They probably have like 100 yachts. What do they care? Just go in and push this stock all the way to the top. And let's get a little perspective from our boys over on /biz. Let's see here. And they kind of talk about this phenomenon as well, where it talks about a squeeze is a chain reaction like this. The price goes up. The short seller is now losing too much and is forced to cover by buying back the stocks. They have to buy the stock again. Just because I know this is a little bit of a confusing topic. Not everyone's involved with short selling or comprehends it or has even heard of it. So I just want to make sure that everyone understands what's going on. This is basically an exotic option for institutional traders. And I think maybe retail traders may have the option as well, but I don't think it's something you normally have access to. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think so, though. This causes the price to go up even more. Right now, GameStop's at 89. More shorts it causes them to cover, meaning they need to buy, and then they rinse and repeat. So basically, this creates a lot of pressure on the people who are shorting the stock, because basically they could lose infinite money and go bankrupt. In terms of what you'll see on a chart, this will appear as an exponential price increase. Green candle after green candle, meaning it goes up every day, versus the usual random walk. Typically, when you observe a stock, it's up, it's down, it's kind of meandering. Some days will have a great day based on some kind of news article or some kind of report, some kind of fundamentals. But it can also happen over the course of several days. So trying to time it perfectly is not important. Saying, if you want to get in on this and you're thinking you want to be a GameStop investor, you could be on the board. You know what I'm saying? Just keep buying this bad boy if you're interested. You could be in the club. It's better, if your broker allows it, to just put a limit sell. So say you did buy, you could be like, well, I would like to lock in my gains at some point. And this is pretty typical stock trading type of maneuver, where you put in a limit order and you say, well, if it hits $420.69, I want to sell. That's the time I'm selling right there. And you could do that. That's an option that you do have to protect your gains. Wallstreetbets is predicting this to go to 500 to 1,000 due to the amount of shorts that will have to cover, the most shorted stock in the entire stock market. You will know when the squeeze happens because it will also be all over the news, and it's getting there. This will be a historic moment people in finance will study for years to come. And by the way, Reddit, I don't know, maybe you guys are all right after all. I'm glad to see that Reddit is doing something good. For a long, there's, normally I'm a little bit down on Reddit. There's a lot of moderation, a lot of censorship. But there are quality subreddits. You got to judge by the subreddit itself. Some have really good mods, and there's actually some good subreddits out there. So, props to Reddit on this one. This is incredible. I just got to give them credit. Now, let's look a little bit at the reactions. Because, of course, there's all of this counterintelligence warfare from the establishment media. They're going to be calling them economic terrorists and all these other insane, because they're flipping out. Okay. If you turn on CNBC and you watch the reaction to this entire thing, people are going to look like really concerned. Like they're sweating bullets. They're looking around like, oh no, what do we say? What do we do? What do I say so I don't lose my job? That's what they're saying. That's what they look like. Short sellers are down. Here's CNBC. Short sellers are down 91 billion in January as GameStop 91 billion as GameStop leads squeeze in stocks they bet against. So basically talks about the massive losses that are going on as a result of short selling gone wrong. They picked the wrong names in January, especially the GameStop phenomenon. So they're losing big money. Here's one from MarketWatch. Reddit moderator slams Wall Street fat cats as GameStop's wild ride continues. They hate that you played by the rules and still won. And there's a lot of truth in that. They don't want these retail investors bullying these almighty hedge funds. I mean, these hedge fund people, they got a lot of power. They got a lot of money, a lot more money than I ever will see in my lifetime. A lot more money than really any of us will ever see. These are, if you don't know what a hedge fund is, they're basically money management. They're people that sit around and make money for a living. Okay, they manage accounts, giant accounts, and their job is to literally sit around and dream up ways to make money using all kinds of, every option available that is out there. So Wall Street Bets crew celebrates on another volatile day for stock and video game retail chain. And says here, the smug factor is running hot in Reddit's buzzy Wall Street Bets community, where a growing number of not safe for work stock flippers are clearly feeling pretty good about themselves. And why wouldn't they? GameStop, 43.9%, one of the group's beloved meme stocks, has been absolutely shredding the short sellers for weeks. On Friday alone, mark-to-market losses for those betting against GameStop came to $1.6 billion. More articles basically screeching about this entire scenario. GameStop fizzles. They're trying to create this, GameStop's fizzling now. So at this point, the media is like basically coping. They're writing articles trying to discourage and demoralize all of these retail investors who are creating problems for hedge funds. GameStop fizzles after dizzying rise in volatile trade. Oh, it's fizzling. Oh, it's up 15%. I guess it's fizzling. This is what fizzling looks like, bro. 15% up, and I mean, this is actually down today. I mean, one day it was at 97 at one point. Looks okay to me. I don't know what that's fizzling in your book. I mean, this is yesterday. Yesterday it was up like, what was it, like 12% or something? Seems to be doing fine. I mean, let's take a quick look at this. Here's the last month, okay? It was at $19 on January 12th, okay? So it's up like more than 400%, 450% at the moment this month. So I think it seems to be doing just fine. I don't think it's fizzling, but this is the kind of mega coping that's going on in the financial sector, in the financial media. Sword and the shares were intermittently halted. Yeah, they keep halting the market, by the way, because they keep trying to stop trading because the market, they can't just authoritatively come in and just like tell you what the new price is. But they would like to at this point. They would like to just declare it worth $15 per share. That's what they would like to do. But they kind of have their hands tied. I mean, it's not, if they come in and just do that, then it's like, wow, then it's a completely rigged stock market. So why even bother trying to trade and day trade and all that stuff? I wouldn't be surprised if the SEC got involved and some ham-fisted measure came down. And just keep your eyes on the story, because this is crazy. Are they just going to let these retail investors bankrupt all these, these fat cat hedge fund managers? We'll see what happens. Again, more articles out here. Mania in stocks like GameStop. Surging options activity suggests a market pullback is coming. So Patty's coping too. Maybe she's working. Maybe she has some friends over at Melvin Capital. Let's see, what was it? Melvin, right? Yeah, Melvin Capital. Maybe she's got some friends over there, because I don't think this is fizzling. I don't think it's a pullback coming at all. Looks like you're wrong so far, because we're up 17%, Patty. The wild rocket higher in GameStop, then its quick fall is a sign of frothy trading. Look at the coping going on. This is so funny, Patty Dom. Based on what? Volatility hit a whole group of stocks, some of which had high short interest and were squeezed higher as rising prices forced shorts to cover. The frothy trading signals a short-term top. The bull market, these people, by the way, the financial news, it's such a bloated garbage. Fundamentals don't even matter. Like stocks are literally trading purely on speculation and hysteria. Are you aware that Tesla is valuated higher than Toyota? That makes no sense, okay? Toyota sells something like 100 times as many. They have like 100 times the revenue of Tesla. This is off the top of my head. I don't know. It's some crazy number. Like Toyota makes way more. They sell way more. I mean, in reality, if we lived in reality, we don't live in reality. We live in a video game world run with fake money. But yeah, there's no way in the world Tesla is like, it has a price to earnings of something like 1,700 or something. I mean, normally it's like 20 or 30. They're like 1,700 or something insane. So this is the kind of clown world ridiculousness that we're dealing with in the financial world. You think politics makes no sense? Go in the stock market. The stock market is just a giant casino that makes no sense. Fundamentals mean nothing. Jim Cramer says Wall Street Bets Reddit has altered market psychology. Yeah, you think maybe these hedge fund managers are going to be thinking twice about heavily shorting stocks? I mean, they're just going to be targeted to be purchased, and they're just going to buy it up and up and up. And in the short term, even in that video, Kramer himself was saying, in the short term, GameStop does not even look that bad. That was his opinion. He said, they got all these new gaming systems coming out. They're going to make some money there. They're pushing, gaming's a big thing right now with COVID. People are sitting around playing a lot of games. That's what's going on. I know that's going on in my house with my kids and my wife and me. I'm playing Animal Crossing on the Switch. I don't know what you're playing, but that's what's going on out there. So very interesting. I love this story. I think it's so cool. I'm going to keep my eyes on this story. I hope you found that interesting. Even if you're not a big investor, this is a revolutionary thing that's going on. I've never heard of coordinated retail investor action on a specific stock like this with the intention of screwing over hedge funds. It's extraordinary. I've never seen anything like this. Obviously, I don't. First of all, can I just say short selling shouldn't exist? You're basically incentivizing the failure of a company. Okay, and then you get what? Then you get your little corporate. You got money, right? You get a bunch of corporate hitmen involved. Try to put a bunch of pressure on the company. Intentional. You can sabotage them. Get insiders to go in there. There's all kinds of really filthy stuff that could go on. That should not even be legal. You should just get rid of short selling. It's ridiculous. That's my personal opinion, but there should not be incentives in place for businesses to fail. Could you imagine if someone could buy a stock in you or your small business or just you personally? Oh, I hope Joe Leonard fails and I'll double my money if he completely goes bankrupt. I mean, it just makes no sense. It's just a very, it's a destructive mechanism, shall we say, creating incentives for failure. It just doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, keep your eye on GameStop. Think about becoming an owner. Maybe you could be a part owner. You could own one share of GameStop today for $89. Look at that. You could be an owner. Think about it. Keep your eye on it, and we'll see what happens. If you'd like the video, subscribe, and that's all for this time, guys. Yeah. Later.